I finished Omori around 3 years ago, back in 2022, and since then, I haven't found a single game that lives up to that standard. The story of Omori is something that not many games can produce. Sure, there's definitely games with better gameplay and a good story on their own, but I believe that Omori's story is on its own level. With that being said, let's move on to the main topic of this video. Have you ever made an impulsive decision? Or a decision that felt right at the time? Something you didn't think through much at all? How did you feel after making that decision? Did you feel satisfied? Or maybe you regret it? There are many cases of impulsive decisions in our lives, from buying an expensive item you randomly saw, to cutting your hair because you feel like it, or maybe even pushing your sister down a staircase because you and her were arguing about the recital you spent months practicing on but still failed to live up to their expectations. Does the last example ever happen to you? No? Well, that's what we're talking about today. Sunny and Mari argue about the recital. Sunny, overwhelmed with frustration, throws his violin down the staircase, the same violin everyone saved up to buy for his birthday. For Mari, this is the last straw, and she lashes out even harder. But then, in a single moment of raw emotion, Sunny shoves her down the staircase. It's not a planned act, it's not rational, it's a decision born entirely from anger and frustration, and it changes everything. Sunny immediately regrets it. He panics, dragging Mari's unconscious body towards their room, desperately hoping she'll wake up. Basil had seen all of this happen, and here we see a second emotional decision. Basil, terrified of the truth, convinced himself that he can protect Sunny. Sunny, still shell-shocked, is shaken by Basil. He tells Sunny he has a plan, and they start dragging Mari's body outside into the backyard. This is where things take a darker turn, even more than it already has. Basil and Sunny start tying a rope on one of the branches of the tree. They then hang Mari on that exact rope, staging a suicide rather than a murder. Basil drags Sunny back into the house, but then stops. Sunny sees Basil's eyes, wide open, looking at what they had done. He looks back and sees something. Mari's eye looked back at them through her hair, and Sunny wished he had just not looked. He shouldn't have looked. This was the catalyst to what started the entirety of the game. These two impulsive decisions are what started a ripple effect and caused the rest of the characters to suffer for 4 years, and arguably more after the ending of the game. Sunny and Basil's decision to stage a suicide had everyone feeling guilty about Mari's death, especially Hiro. We can see in the dialogue from Kel where you visit Mari's grave in the real world how Hiro went into a severe depression after her death. He stopped caring about school, about food, even about cooking, the one thing he used to love most. He isolates himself completely, carrying the crushing guilt that maybe Mari had taken her own life because he failed to notice her pain. And then one night, Kel tries to reach out to him, telling Hiro how much they miss him, how they want him back. In that fragile moment, Hiro makes an emotional decision of his own. He lashes out at Kel, and we're not told what he said, but according to Kel, it was pretty hurtful, in that he blocked out most of it. But almost immediately, Hiro regrets it. When his parents rush in to comfort him, he realizes what he's done, turns to Kel and breaks down an apology. Hiro's breakdown shows another side of impulsive decisions. They aren't always violent or world-shattering like Sunny's. Sometimes they're smaller, quieter moments where grief overpowers reason. But they still leave scars on ourselves and on the people we love most. This pattern of impulsive emotional choices doesn't stop with Sunny and Basil. In fact, all 5 main characters respond to Mari's death through grief, and each stage of grief pushes them toward their own emotional decisions. For example, Sunny embodies denial. Instead of facing what happened, he makes the emotional choice to retreat into his dream world. He keeps repeating the same adventures with his friends over and over, convincing himself that nothing has changed. And when fragments of the truth slip in, Omori steps in to protect him. Another emotional decision to shut the truth away. Aubrey represents anger. After Mari's death, she feels abandoned by her friends, especially as her own family life crumbles. Her emotions drive her to a destructive choice, she becomes a bully. It's not because she's heartless, it's because she needs her friends to agree with her, and when they don't, she lashes out. Basil represents bargaining. Unlike Sunny, he can't fully deny what happened, but his emotions won't let him accept that Sunny could have pushed Mari on his own. So he bargains with himself, clinging to the belief that something was responsible. His emotional decision is to rewrite the truth in order to protect both Sunny and himself from guilt. Hero shows depression. We've already seen how he lashes out at Kel during his breakdown, but even before that, his emotions drive another choice, the choice to withdraw. He stops cooking, stops engaging, stops living, because to him, it feels safer to disappear into grief than face the possibility that Mari's suicide was something he could have prevented. Finally, Kel represents acceptance. Out of everyone, he makes the healthiest emotional decision to move forward while still carrying Mari's memory. He misses her, but he doesn't let his grief consume him. Kel proves that even decisions made from emotion don't always destroy us. Sometimes they can help us heal. If you want a more in-depth explanation of each character's grief, you can check out Pickle Bloom's video after this one. I'll put the video in the description. She explains more about how each character represented the 5 stages of grief. Omori reminds us that every decision based on emotion that we make is part of what makes us human. We can't always be rational about what we decide to do, unless you're perfect and you calculate everything, but what's important is to remember to try your best to pause and think before you act. That's never easy in the heat of strong emotions, but it can spare us from painful consequences. Maybe our choices won't be as extreme as Sunny's or Basil's, but they can still hurt the people closest to us, like Hero hurting Kel. Maybe one of the reasons why Omori resonates with a lot of us is because it shows us how easy it is to let our emotions decide for us and how hard it is to live with the consequences.